Power creep is no joke, and Ceratosaurus seems to be like the first example I've seen of this so far. Like, Cerato has so many like just passive abilities. Well, not so many, but like it has more than everything else so far. And I feel like the more creatures they add, just the more complicated playables are gonna get, and more bland all the other things are gonna become. Like Dryo. Do I even need to say anything about Dryo? It has a dodge that doesn't work. Well, it works, but it's like really bad. And Omniraptor has Pounce, which would be good on paper if it worked, but it does not, unfortunately. If Omniraptor had all of its abilities from the concept art, like the scurry it has, it's supposed to be able to like scurry up a surface that it wouldn't be able to otherwise just by jumping. Ceratosaurus has like Ceratosaurus has natural armor, you have damage resistance, bleed resistance, but then when you get to half health, all of that goes away and you're just as squishy as everything else. And then, for Christ's sake, we have a charge attack, which is pretty nuts, and you can make people vomit. You can eat rotten flesh and bones to get all through your diets. The older creatures are just not seeing this level of depth that these newer ones are getting. Well, it just makes me wonder, like, okay, are we gonna get like a TLC, like a little redesign of the older ones? Not a redesign, but a rework of the older ones. I know some of the older playables are getting some sort of rework, like the Dino is yet to get his vertical lunge, which some people may seem as useless, but useless or not, it's still another thing that like that creature is able to do, and it makes its gameplay so much more interesting just by adding another like tool to its kit, you know? I feel like if you're creative enough for whatever the game gives you, you can do so much more than what's on the surface. Can you shut up? Now, there's gonna be these guys like White Knight, but I'm about to. Oh. Oh, I thought I was gonna die there. Animals that are already in the game, Omniraptor, Carno, that don't have any passive ability whatsoever. They have one ability that aids them in combat. Carno's ability doesn't work half the time, and the hitbox is horrible. Utah's ability doesn't work 99% of the time, and the hitbox is horrible. And sometimes you just completely, like, break the game, and you lag everywhere, you teleport everywhere, and you're just, like, floating in the air. They've, like, reworked it and fixed it so many times, where, like, it's just still so unreliable. We've come to a point where creature's main ability is what it's supposed to be relying on. Then that one thing it relies on doesn't work. I feel bad, but I think I'm gonna have to kill this guy. I'm sorry, little one. Oh. Omniraptor. The chances of two people choosing Dryo when there's 30, not even 30 people on, like, super low. Come on. And by the way, I haven't touched this game since I made my last video when the 4 new playables dropped. It's not really a big deal right now, because there's not too much of a difference in the amount of abilities or whatever everything has. So I'm not too concerned, but it's definitely a fear that we should be looking at for the future, because it's something that's gonna hit us like a truck when we start to realize, hey, what's going on, and then nobody plays these older playables whatsoever because they get overshadowed by these creatures that do the exact same thing but better. Things like Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus, two of which are quite literally the exact same thing. They've mentioned things like this before, where like, hey, we could just have Carchar as a skin for Giga. Different species variants. It seems cool. I hope they do something like that. Power creep is something I'm very worried about, and something I've been thinking about a lot. And I don't want to see any playables just get lost in the dust or thrown in the closet because all these creatures that are being added are just so much better in every way. Because I really do want to see a diverse and varied environment. I want to run into everything. I want to experience everything. Of course, I want things to be in somewhat moderation like Apexes. I cannot stand how everybody in Legacy would just choose an Apex. It was just Rexes and Gigas walking around everywhere, and the occasional Spino if you were on a server where they enabled it. One creature I'm very excited for them to add is Baryonyx. I am absolutely obsessed with Baryonyx. It is my favorite animal of all time. I would choose Baryonyx over anything to ever exist. If I was forced to choose one thing to play as ever, and I cannot play anything else, it would be Baryonyx. But I guarantee you, when they add Baryonyx, it's gonna have like 50 different passive abilities, it's gonna have like 20 different attacks, if they want baryonyx to be some, like, very ravenous bear niche, a defensive build would be excellent. But enough of my opinions aside. Power creep is no opinion. It's not my opinion. It will happen. It's something we should all be careful of. It's something we should make sure we give the game suggestions about. We give proper feedback. Of course, they're already looking into things like this by going back to previous playables that are already released. Like, they know they're not done with Pteranodon. They know they're not done with Hipsy. They know they're not going to be done with Herrera when that comes out. Because when Herrera comes out, we're not going to have Herrera nesting in the trees. We don't have Hipsy nesting in the trees. They want Hipsy to get different abilities when it spits at you, depending on what you've been eating, which would be very cool. But yeah, as long as we're responsible, I mean the devs are responsible enough to listen to our very valuable feedback, all will do swell. All will do swell. And once again, I've said this multiple times, I do not want to see older playables get shelved because these newer ones are outshining it in every way possible. They're better in every way, and they do everything what the older one does, but better. But as long as they give the older playables the proper care and attention they need, we'll be fine. I'm just looking at all these developer streams of the new playables that are going to be added after Gateway, like Diablo, Herrera, Dilo. Dibble is going to have so many abilities. It's going to have like a head block thing. It's going to be able to spar. I don't know, it's already absolutely insane. And then Dilophosaurus, it has this crazy hallucinogen venom that it's going to inflict on its enemies. And then Herrera, it can climb trees, it can pounce on you and one-shot you if you're small enough. It's going to be able to one-shot an Omniraptor if it gets a good hit on you. But yeah, other than that, Gateway is right around the corner. It seems like the embargo is going to be lifting pretty quickly. The embargo is set to, it seems like it's set to be lifted this week or so, which would be very nice. They keep on saying soon, but everybody knows the aisle soon is usually like 4 times as long as what everybody thinks it is. Hope we get some good content from the content creators that are actually in the Stress Fest, because unfortunately I am not, so I apologize. I've applied multiple times. I've not been accepted either time. So I can guarantee you right now, if I was accepted, I'd be playing a lot more than these stress testers that are already in there. Because every time the stress test embargo is lifted, I feel like everybody complains, oh yeah, there's only 2 people in the stress test, like, at all times. Besides, like, the first day that it's dropped, but, like, that's it. But yeah, as I was saying, I've applied multiple times, because I would love to participate. I would quite literally play all the time, because I'm really sick of Spyro. It was fun at first, but now it's just, like, the realization is setting in. I think the honeymoon effect was in play when we first got Spyro, just from having V3 and Legacy. Very, very glad that we have all these new people on the development team. The potential for this game's future is absolutely insane, and I really can't wait. But yeah, guys, let's cross our fingers. Hopefully, Gateway's update is crisp, clean, because so far, pretty much every single update so far has been such a messy drop, laggy, crashing everywhere, servers going down. People can't get into the game, queue system breaking. I think every update so far where there's been a queue system, the queue system only works for like the first 5 minutes or so when the update drops. So hopefully they get a functional queue system eventually. That'd be nice. I would love to get in line instead of spamming to join the server every 2 seconds. I think I'd rather just have my spot secure than have it like completely random whether I get in or not, and me taking 5 hours to get in the server. That'd be nice. Yeah, guys, let me know what you think. How do you guys think power creep is going to affect the older playables? Do you think there's too many similar animals in the roster that are going to be overlapping each other? Do you guys think it's perfectly fine? I'll be glad to have a discussion in the comments. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it. See ya.